So Gavin has said that we might be getting hybrid mana decoupled away from the way hybrid mana has operated in Magic the Gathering up to this point. Well, I guess we got to talk about that. Alright, so we should probably talk about how split pips work in Commander. Now, there are two ways that split pips can make their way into a Commander's color identity. That is either in Ophelia's sense, where the split pips are in the effect text of the card. Notice how she has Golgari mana in her whenever Ophelia attacks ability. That means that you have to pay, one of any color and then one of either black or green mana in order to get an effect. Then the other way is with cards like Sig River Cutthroat, who instead have their mana cost as the split pips for the card, and otherwise there's nothing else written there that really matters. Technically, you also have the 2 mana and split pip like Reaper King has, but these cards are treated as if they are whatever colors are available specifically in those pips. So a Reaper King is just a Wooburg commander. A Beseech the Queen is just a mono-black spell. So if we have something like Indoraptor, this is considered a Jund spell, and likewise can only make its way into Jund decks, or decks that have Jund's colors in them. Jund being black, red, and green. So this can be in a black, red, green deck, or it can be in a Wooburg deck or a 4-color deck that has black, red, and green for the commander costs. But what it cannot be in is a Golgari deck or a black-green deck, or, any combination. So it can't be an Rakdos deck or a Golgari deck. Those are the 2 color combinations that we would be able to see there. And this is me in post, recognizing that I didn't mean Golgari, I meant Gruul. Apologies. So if I wanted to put a Blade Historian in my deck, the deck would need to be a Naya deck, or it would need to be a deck that just has red and white in it. So like a Boros deck would be able to run Blade Historian. But there has been a conversation from years ago about why this may not be a good thing for Commander. And the reasoning is pretty simple. It's that split pip cards are not designed the same as 2 pip cards. So if we take Ovika Enigma Goliath, for instance, this is a card that has an effect that is meant to be representative of blue and red together. A card that could not exist outside of being both blue and red. So when I have Ovika on the board, what am I looking at? I'm looking at a card that has a non-creature spell casting clause. That's a very blue thing. It's got flying. That's a blue and a red thing. And then it spawns tokens, which is a blue and a red thing, but those tokens gain haste. That's very much a blue thing. This is a card that could not exist as a mono red card, and it could not exist as a mono blue card. If it were mono red, the tokens would have to sacrifice themselves at the end of the turn, and it likely wouldn't have a ward cost associated with it. That's closer in proximity to what blue would do. But Blade Historian is a little different. This card says attacking creatures you control have Double Strike. Double Strike is both a red and a white ability. This is a card that can exist as a mono white card and can exist as a mono red card. There's nothing stopping this card from existing as a quad pipped white card or a quad pipped red card, and that is how split pips like this have always been designed. Hybrid mana cards are designed such that they could be either or as opposed to a combination of the 2. I want to go ahead and listen now to Gavin's specific words on split pipping. Now note, this is the words he spoke on Good Morning Magic, not necessarily the words that were written in the original article, but let's go ahead and take a look.
Mana costs. In Magic, hybrid cards are made to be playable by either color. That's how they work in all of Magic. If I have a Kitchen Finks, I can put it in my mono white deck or my mono green deck. Commander is a place where it's the opposite. You can't put it in either a mono white or a mono green deck. Allowing for hybrid would give decks with fewer colors, better tools, and options to play with. It allows for more playable options. From a design standpoint, the way we design hybrid cards today is it would need to be a card would print in another color. They must obey the rules of a white card and a green card independently, and they are often weaker than a monocolor card in either color. The proposal for how this would work would be that, strictly for the purposes of deck building, you can treat a hybrid symbol as either of its 2 colors. So Risk the Redeemed could go into a white deck, a green deck, or be the commander for a green and white deck.
I mean, if you look at Riss's ability right here, creating a 1/1 elf token, a ton of green cards do that. If you look at his second ability, for each creature token, create another token copy. So like populating on every creature token you control, green cards do that all the time. This is the second harvest ability. White cards do this all the time. This is Elspeth, Mondrak, etc. Like, these effects independently operate as both white and green. They do not necessarily need, it's not like Ovika, like I showed earlier, where Ovika could not exist as a blue card. It could not exist as a red card.
It still looks at the rest of the mana symbols on the card as normal, so a card like Deathrite Shaman would remain ineligible for a mono black deck because it has a green symbol in the text box.
And that's something else to note here. Looking at this right here, despite the fact that it has a hybrid symbol here, the fact that here it has multiple different types of mana, these cards would no longer, like this card is still a Golgari card because it has a black ability and a green ability. Exile a creature from a graveyard, gain 2 life. That's a very green ability. Exile an instant or sorcery from a graveyard, make every opponent burn. That's a black ability. That is entirely, like, this is Scavenging Ooze on one hand, and what is the card that we use in Pioneer? It's not Crippling Fear, but the 1 mana 1 that gets rid of a thing in a graveyard and then either gains you life or draws you a card. It's those effects just kind of stapled onto something. And that's how, like, these kinds of cards are supposed to be designed. They are meant to be designed as 2 different colors glued together that independently could not do the things that the glued together card is doing.
When it comes to 2 Brid mana costs, like that of Beseech the Queen, our inclination would likely be to let those work the same way so any deck could play it if they wanted to, though that could have more discussion. We know that hybrid mana costs have been a long discussed thing in Commander, so what do you all think? We've talked about it a lot and would really love to know your opinions, so please let us know. We'll be reading all the discourse in the community around these 4 questions on social media, and we'll especially be collecting things on the official Magic Discord, so go and check that out. Now,
all right, so that means that we, as a community, can have this discussion, and Gavin will be looking at those, we'll be looking at that discussion to see what he thinks. Now, remember, this does mean that cards like, for instance, Emiel is going to be able to be a mono white card now. You could put Emiel in the 99 of mono white blink without needing to have a commander that is white and green. This also means if you were playing white-blue, like Azorius Blink, now Emiel works in Azorius Blink, which it could not do before. This also means that Rodolph Duskbringer now works in a mono black deck. I can just put Rodolph in a mono black deck. But considering that flying, death touch, lifelink, all of those are things that black already did perfectly fine, I don't see a problem with that. Honestly, the more I look through all the cards that have hybrid mana somewhere on them, I don't see anything that's super problematic. We've got like Godhead of Awe, other creatures are 1/1. Well, that can easily be a white ability, that's Humility, and that can easily be a blue ability. Blue converts creatures into other things all the time. Sapling of Kulfener, okay, when it attacks, reveal the top cards of our library, and then gain life equal to a thing and then lose life equal to a thing. Okay, that is trying to glue blue and black together a little bit, but or green and black together a little bit, but green and black both independently do life gain, life loss for creature things. I don't see an issue with that. And, you know, even the much hated and vaunted Luris of the Dream Den, oh no, now Luris can make its way into my Savra deck. Oh god, Luris can make its way into my Savra deck. Never mind. Never mind. This is all a terrible idea. Do not allow this to make its way into Savra. You will regret it. I promise you. I promise you, you will regret it. Do not let this thing make its way into Savra. And if you have not played against my Savra deck, if you're not somebody at my card shop who's had that experience, then, you know, come on, let me know. Let's have a conversation. Let's have a game together. I promise you that there will be a zero-sum amount of Magic the Gathering, and one of us will be playing most of it. But yeah, no, this is like the one thing I could see as being maybe problematic. Is that now, like, Golgari commanders would get access to Luris. But, I mean, aside from that, I don't see too many things that cause me much issue. Like, yeah, Persist decks are gonna be able to use Murderous Redcap for more combos. Oh, no. I already had to deal with that enough with decks that were running Rakdos colors anyway. Now we can see Murderous Redcap in Golgari decks. I don't see that as being too much of a problem. It was already a problem before. We're only magnifying the problem a little bit. And it should be noted, of the like 400 plus cards that are hybrid mana cards, and there's a lot more of them now thanks to Spider-Man, but of those 500 plus cards that are hybrid mana cards, we have things like, say, Glen Elendra Liege, which is way less powerful in either a blue or a black deck than it is in a combined blue and black deck. Like, all the lieges work this way. We see a lot of cards that are either overcosted for what they do, like a mono white or a mono green 5/5 that has protection from blue, black, and red. It's like, these are cards that are meant to be bombs in draft, but they don't do anything. Your blue deck getting access to Slippery Bogle, your mono green deck having access to Demogoth Titan. These are not fundamentally changing anything about your deck in a way that is really, really problematic. I think hybrid mana is fine. And I think hybrid mana is fine so long as Wizards continues to design hybrid mana cards such that they are independently either color as opposed to combined colors. Now, I know that there are probably some cards that are going to slip through the cracks, right? And I'm sure some of you have absolute nightmares about somebody blinking Urian Sky Nomad. And trust me, those nightmares are going to get worse because I have a deck for Urian that is being brewed right now. So, you know, have fun with that. But I personally don't see hybrid mana as being too much of a problem. Looking at a lot of the things that we have access to, none of these are things that I'm super scared to deal with in a commander game. Like, yeah, Kitchen Finks is a persist card. You're going to be able to use it with infinite persist combos. And, like, I already have to deal with that. Maybe now some white weenie deck is going to be able to put Figure of Destiny in their 99 and actually make it work and be as spooky as it used to be in Standard. Oh no, how terrifying for me. I don't see any problem with this. I can now put Koust in my not Boros, but in my like Gruul turn cards face up, face down deck. No. The cards that have been designed for Commander, like Koust and Omo, these are not cards that are supremely powerful outside of being in the command zone of their decks, in which case nothing's changing for you anyway. Spider-Man's brought things like, I don't know, fucking Cheering Crowd into the game, and I'm not super concerned about seeing many of these. Like, at least 300 of the cards in here are draft chaff, and of the 100 or so that are not, that are coming in, I'm just not too terribly worried about what they're going to do to any given game. I think it's going to be fine. Though, if there is a card that's breaking of Color Pie ability, is actually something that was baked into the design that is not super great to deal with, that you personally don't want to see in your Commander games, let me know in the comment section below. You might be able to change my mind there. But right now, nothing I'm seeing really raises a red flag for me, and I'm quite literally staring at all hybridized mana cards in the game right now, and nothing's jumping out to me as problematic. Like, yes, I can run Toulouse, the Clever Conductor, in my mono blue decks now. Yeah, I can now connive in mono blue. I never had the ability to connive in mono blue before. It wasn't a thing I had access to before uniquely this situation. I don't know. I don't see this as a problem. I really don't see the hybrid mana thing as a problem. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you've got a problematic card, I want to know what you think it is, because for my point, I really do not see too much of an issue. And please be aware, I want you to take maybe a minute of introspection when you're going into the comment section and ask yourself, are you just scared of change? Is that what it is? Are you just scared of change? In a card game with 30,000 cards and an extra couple hundred added in every 2 months, does the currently existing 400 cards that aren't that great, like 3/4 of them aren't that great, do those currently existing 400 cards really spook you that much? Because they don't spook me out too much. But again, give me your examples in the comment section below. Maybe we'll find something in there that is actually spooky. But for the time being, I think this is fine. I think hybrid mana coming into Commander is perfectly okay. Oh, I can't wait for this to be a forever conversation that absolutely nobody knows how to end. I've made the unfortunate mistake of making all fan art canon, and you guys use that to make a ton of doppelgangers of me that try to ruin my life. So why not go ahead and celebrate that cacophony by picking up the new channel playmat over on 4th Wall. When you pick up the playmat, take a picture and throw it up on social media tagging me so I can feature you in a future video.